following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everyone, I'm Christine.
I'm Jada.
Jada! Happy to see you this week. Thanks everyone for joining us today. So today's going to be a fun show. Have you had a good week, Jada? What's going down in your world?
Mercury's in retrograde, so it's been crazy, but I'm here.
That's right. We are here. Yeah, I'd say with bells on, but I hate the bells, so I threw them out. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I don't think I've ever been so busy doing busy work. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not shit I want to really be doing. It's like things I have to be doing. So to get to what I want to be doing. And so it's just kind of annoying and there's a lot going on. But anyway, I really just don't have a lot to report because I'm not, happy about things. I do have to say that I have two main ex-husbands.
What?
There's one I don't like because
Okay.
he's a narcissist gaslighter, and I was lucky to survive him. And I have one that I really like. He is a good guy. He was not the right husband for me, but he's a great guy and he's a great dad to my two older daughters.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's only 3 years younger than me. He's 52, and he had some major strokes this week.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that.
So we've been dealing with that, and I'm happy that I'm able to be there for my daughters and for him to, help in any way I can. So it's been kind of a crazy week, and just positive thoughts. People recover from strokes, so we're gonna think positive.
Well, I will send you love and light and all the positive vibes your way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, this week, I just want to get into the show because I'm annoyed with life.
Yeah. Me too.
And I think that our guest is love and light. I really, really enjoy him. He was on the show recently talking about, what was that? Dumb Bitch Academy. It was Bryan.
Oh, I missed that one. I listened to it, but I wasn't here.
Yeah. So Bryan is back with us. And what we're talking about today is what he terms as hacking your mind. It is the action of observing and modifying your behaviors, perspectives, and situations you place yourself in to actively determine direction. So Bryan joins us because he is really incredible. I found him on TikTok. I love his content. He tries to help people, determine what is their issues and learn how to overcome them and move forward. Okay. That's my gist on it. Could be other words that he uses, but those are Christine's gists. So, Bryan Nateras, he is... He basically is writing a self-help book filled with practical solutions to complex problems, utilizing the wisdom of his ancestors, along with modern research in several different kind of fields. Today, we are going to talk about 3 principles for dating, and that's knowledge of self, knowledge of desire, and knowledge of others. So he's got, a good diverse range of things that he's done in the past 15 years, like including psychology, neuroscience, philosophy, and spirituality. He's really an all-around kind of guy, and I'm really excited to talk to him about these 3 principles. I've never heard anything like it, but yet when you break them down, which we're going to do, we have heard of it, but just not in this way. So I'm super excited. Let's bring Bryan on. Hi, Bryan.
Hi,
Hey,
Bryan.
ladies, how are you?
You're looking
Good.
great. We're
Thank you,
doing
thank
all
you.
right. I start each day with the same things now. I have 2 mantras that I start each day with. And
hmm
throughout the day, if I'm struggling, I say them again. And they
Okay.
are everything always works out for me.
Yes.
And I say, show me how great today can be.
Okay. I love
Um,
that. Yeah.
Me too. And I've really learned to wake up, say them, and any type of the day as I start to struggle, I'd say it again. So I'm sharing that with you guys because I don't know, I feel like this is part of what is showing me how great my day can be. So thank you
Right.
for being here, guys. Um, so welcome
Thank you for
back,
having
Bryan.
us.
Yeah. So tell us anything happening with you.
Um, there's always something happening with me. I live life with intent.
I love it.
Every minute, as much as I can. I have my off days too, but I wake up and then just like you, I have I guess you could say I have a mantra. I go outside, take my shoes off, take a moment for myself because I like to set a precedent that I come first in the morning. Like today is I speak to my ancestors, I connect, and I remind myself that the peripheral world is just, you know, it's just synthetic and I live in the real world, and that sets my day up for the rest of the day, and
I love that.
it's usually pretty great.
I'm gonna do that tomorrow morning.
I think
When
I
I
am
go,
too.
I really love the idea instead of just laying there or getting up and immediately start making
hmm
breakfast and lunch for my daughter, maybe just going out and doing what you said, be grounded, go barefoot, stand on the grass and say my mantras, say my
Yes.
daily affirmations and
Yes.
connect with myself and my ancestors. I agree. I think that's excellent advice. I'm going to take it. You didn't mean it as advice, but I'm going to take it that way.
Whatever helps, right?
Right?
hmm
Right. So we have a lot to talk about. So I want to get right into
hmm
it. Um, let's go over these 3 principles. The first one you have
Okay.
is knowledge of self. And you said that you actually have 5 or 6 key elements. Do you mind telling us
Yes.
what that first one means and those key elements?
So the first one kind of goes into the rest because when you pursue knowledge of self, you inadvertently gain knowledge of others because we're all human beings. We all follow certain patterns in our everyday lives. We share certain types of psychologies and behaviors, with the exception of neurodivergence and neurodiversity. But we're all human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to take the bulk of the whole three things, and then towards the end too, since this is kind of like a dating thing, I'm going to sort of like tie it in together and
Mm-hmm.
give you a bonus at the end of
I love it.
how you can connect with men a little bit better, and it has to
Great.
do with like a neuroscience approach, and
I
it's like
love that.
it's better than like magazine stuff. Like it's actual science. So I
Actual
guess.
science.
Oh, go ahead.
Yay.
I don't want to interrupt you. This might be a little lag
No,
on my mic.
I interrupt all the time. So it's just
Oh,
you
okay,
go
cool.
for
All right.
it.
So knowledge of self is key. So like, let's say we're out there trying to find our significant other, and personally, as a man in a place of self-actualization and living with intent, I would love to find my significant other, right? So, but the only thing that I can do is I can just trust the universe and trust life to deliver that to me. And if it doesn't happen, it's cool. If it does happen, then I want to be prepared for her. So the only thing that we can account for is ourselves, because when we're actively looking for it, we're looking for the value outside of ourselves. And when you look for something outside of yourself, you don't find it. So instead, I like to attract that versus go seek it. So knowledge of self is key, and it's important because one day, like the perfect woman for me is going to walk by, and I'm going to say to the universe, thanks universe for putting me in this place and putting me through all the things that I've been through in life, just so I can be worthy of this woman. So self accountability and self knowledge is key. And there's 5 things that I do. Actually, there's a little more, but part of like the book that I'm writing is just 5 key things that you can do to make sure you're ready for not just that person, but elevate yourself as a human being and use certain things to leverage yourself into a better position, whether that's emotionally, psychologically, financially, spiritually, whatever. So the first thing that I always suggest is journaling. The best minds in the entire history of mankind have journaled, right? So it's not just about saying your feelings or anything like that. I mean, that does help. It's a little cathartic, but it sets different precedents psychologically and neuroscientifically, right? Neurobiologic. So the first precedent it says is that it's kind of like the thing that I do in the morning. I come first. So when I open my journal, the first line that I always write, even when I have nothing to write, I endeavor to be better than who I was yesterday, or I'm going to be better than who I was yesterday. And by reminding myself of that, because we cannot conceptualize time, and we kind of take ourselves for granted a little bit, it reminds me, hey, wake up. It's time to get shit done. So that is the first thing. So you can start the day with intent. That's another thing. Like psychologically, you start the day with intent, and you set a psychological precedent that you come first, and another psychological precedent which helps with your discipline. If you have bad discipline, your life is garbage. So by journaling every day, right? Right. So by journaling every day, you set that precedent of discipline, and you just need one thing. For 6 weeks, that's the study. It's over 6 weeks, but I give it 3 months every single day. And these things, you got to do them every single day. And they're just easy things that you can fit into your life. So another thing, it gives you organization. If you're unorganized in life, you have no direction. You have no path forward. What is it that you want? If you want the universe to bring you somebody extraordinary, you can't say, oh, I want somebody extraordinary. No, I want somebody extraordinary with long hair, and she's this, she's that, and this is what she looks like, and blah, blah, blah. You have to be specific with your intent. And the universe will give that to you, and I highly believe that. Right?
100%. Yeah. We're on that same page with you. Everything we talk about is knowing what you want and having that intent for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll move on to the next thing.
It's almost a visual practice as well, and you're drawing it closer to you. So I love that idea of journaling and the specifics of every single thing about what you want.
Exactly. And in terms of energy, because energy is everything, energy is fact, right? Everything is in a state of either energy or matter, but it's both the same thing. So when, I don't know if there's this cool experiment done by Matsumoto. There's a Japanese gentleman, I think it's Matsumoto. That's his last name. I forgot his first name. And it's the water experiment, where you write certain things in the front of like rice or water, and it changes them in the molecular level. You can see it as it crystallizes, as you freeze it, it changes. So as you write, you are putting energy out there into the universe as well. So it's kind of like a self-healing thing as well. So that's another cool little thing.
So funny that you talk about water. Water is very, very significant in my journey of manifesting. I manifest in water every day. I speak it into my water, and I drink it every
I like that.
day.
Because
I'm transferring the energy of what I'm saying and the codes, because I use codes, mathematical codes that are interpreted for specific things. And I speak it into the water, and then I drink it and put it into my energy of my body. Then for my big manifesting days on 11/11, 1/11, those type of days, I go to the ocean and I pre-write my manifestations. I go to the water and I stand in the water and speak it into the water. So I double duty
Ooh.
it.
Powerful.
I'm gonna
Then
steal that one.
I bring those back home, and then I actually burn them to release them. I'm not going to hold on to them because I no longer need them. So because they're here now. So
Yes.
it's funny that you mentioned water because I truly believe that, and that's my strongest way of manifesting.
That's awesome. I'm gonna steal that. I like that.
Please do. We're going to
That's
share
perfect
some
too.
shit here.
Yes. All right. So that's the first thing, journaling, right? So the second thing is body. So obviously you have to take care of your body. You have to respect your body, and the respect that you give to your body is also an energy, and it sets a psychological precedent in the psychological realm. It sets a psychological precedent that I come first. It's the same thing as journaling, but it adds up. And if you do it if you do these things throughout your day, look at how many precedents you're setting, and the same precedents over and over and over, and repetition, right? Over and over. So you come first. The second is intent. I want to feel this way. I want to look this way, right? Not to mention, obviously, the physical aspects of it, better mood, all that stuff, all the science stuff that, everybody knows, the health benefits. Another one is, this is very key, and this is part of all the actions in this process, is the counter to sadness, the counter to fear, the counter to lack is defiance. That is the key energy. That is because you have to want something better in order for you to get there. Now, what's cool about neuroscience is that you can either live in a place of constant stress and cortisol, or you can live in a place of serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, glutamate, noradrenaline, all those good cocktails, right? And at the same time, psychologically, you can live in a negative place of lack, fear, anxiety, all those negative things, or you can live in the opposite. But the bridge between those two things is defiance. Say, you know what? Nobody's gonna come and save you. I gotta take care of me first. And that is the genesis of switch. That is the catalyst for change. So by going out to the gym, every rep that you take, every squat that you take is an act of defiance against your lesser self, right? I don't want to be sad anymore. On top of that, your body is like an endocrine organ. Every time you flex a muscle, your body releases serotonin, and that's more effective than any antidepressant. So you have that precedent as well, that benefit as well. You have, obviously, another thing, you also increase your baseline dopamine. So your baseline dopamine is really great. Dr. Huberman talks about this on his podcast a lot, and it's super important too. That's why I started taking cold showers, and like, whoa, man, I love it. It's great. So dopamine is a neuromodulator for the entirety of your day, for what you do, how you feel, and even your perspective psychologically and all that stuff. At the end of the day, you feel all drained and all defeated. Well, you can increase your baseline dopamine and have more sustained levels of energy emotionally and physically. So that action itself also yields you that. At the same time, every time you move and you do something, you're creating new neural groupings, right? So when you're in a state of depression and sadness, you're in constant fire of those neural groupings. You just default to that state, and it keeps you in a perceptual, psychological, and physiological prison, because those things exist in your body. So as you work out, as you journal, as you do all these other things, you're creating new experiences by creating new neural groupings. So person A and person B 3 months later are literally not the same person, because person B has now developed a whole bunch of new neural groupings that this person did not have, right? So sometimes when you're at that place, you can kind of fake it till make it, because mind influences body just as body influences mind, because mind and body are the same, right?
Exactly.
So
if you guys want to add, before I go to number 3.
Well,
go ahead. Go ahead, Christine.
No. Go ahead, Jada.
I was going to say, you had mentioned something briefly when you talked about taking a cold shower. I did this whole reading except the reading I saw called it a shock shower, that if you take,
Yeah.
you can have a hot shower and then do like 2 minutes of cold water, then turn it back to warm, then 2 minutes of cold water and turn it back to warm. And the psychology of how that affects your body and your day is incredible. I've only done it a couple times because it's a lot, but
I know it's intense.
Yeah.
I just took a cold shower before I got in. I had finished working on my friend's car, and then I took a cold shower, and then I got over here. But yes, absolutely, it does help, because it's like you are going out of your way to be in discomfort. So you are telling your body, I tell you what to do. I tell you how to feel. I tell you, I'm the boss. Not obviously, because 30, by the age of 35, 95% of your personality is already programmed within you. So that means that 5% of your mind is conscious. So if in the last 35 years you have not actively regulated the person that you want to be, then you are just, kind of running in your background. And I realized this like at a very early age. And I said, you know what? I want to curate my experience, and I don't want to be ruled by my traumas, my fears, and what I lack, and all these things. And I'm still learning as a human being. That's why I say, let me use these tools to leverage myself into the person that I actually want to be, right? So cold showers is really cool, because it does increase your baseline dopamine about 60%, and that's huge. That's huge. You want change? That's huge. Also, your motivation, it has a lot to do with your motivation too. And like, you're there, for example, what's cool is you can kind of hack another thing. You can hack your mind, you can hack your neuroscience, your psychology, by like you're starting to get sad or something. You're starting to like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. Like, I'm going to take a shower. Take a cold shower, and you're going to go to the gym like this. Because what you're experiencing in your baseline is a troph. It's called a troph. And that troph is what causes that pain, and that, oh, I don't want to do it. But when you take a cold shower, it spikes your dopamine, and it keeps it at sustained levels for the next 2 hours. So it's like you literally hack your mind out of that mood.
Well,
so that's what's cool.
I can tell you another benefit of it.
Yeah.
Get your mind out of the gutter. No. What I was going to say was, actually, a hot shower pulls all of the moisture out of your skin and out of your hair. And when you wash your hair, if you want to have healthy skin and healthy hair, you're supposed to rinse and wash your hair in cold water. And it gives a shine, a bounce, an energy to your skin and your hair. If I take a hot shower and don't end with a cold, then my hair's drab, my skin is dry, I get like ashy and gross, and I look like a snake because my skin is all, crackly, gross. But actually, beneficially for your body, not just your mind, but if you have dry skin, if you feel flaky, if your hair feels icky, you have to wash and rinse your hair in cold water. So
I like that.
there you go.
I think I'll do that. It makes sense, because I usually do like 15-20 minutes in the sauna, and I do stretching and like a little bit of meditation in there, and then I just go straight to the cold shower. And man, I feel like running a marathon.
Your hair must be so supple, and your skin.
I have
Bryan,
no hair. I shaved it off.
He's like, I got rid of that.
Because I owned a shop for like 15 years, and like working under cars, like grease would get in my hair, and I had super long hair all the way to my waist too. So.
I can see that. I can see that.
I can see that.
So I was like, oh, goodbye. Good times.
What's your, do you have another key element for this?
Yes.
Okay.
So for body, I mean, we pretty much already talked about, I think it's setting the same precedence as journaling as well. Like, same precedence, but it's different too. So you can already start to see that you have correlating, but what is it? It's all positive things, right? And you're in a state of positivity. It pulls you out of whatever you're at. Exactly. So the third thing is also really important, is your intelligence. So whatever it is, whether that's audiobooks, whether that's half an hour of a YouTube video, of a documentary, whether it's whatever it is, a podcast like this, It's
Like
really
this.
important. Yeah, there you go. See, whatever feeds your mind, because it's
Mhm.
important for us to learn. Like the more you learn, the more you have, the more leverage you have to be better. Now we're talking about, see, like right now we were talking about cold showers and all this stuff and like dopamine and blah, blah, blah. So now like somebody watching this, they already know about it too. So
Mhm.
myself, in total, I study about 3 hours a day, whether that's because I trade as well. I'm working on my algorithm, or I'm trading, or I'm studying something neuroscience or something philosophical or something like that, because I want to be, this is like gold to me. It's like we live in the age of information. It's like somebody put a pot of gold there and everybody's like, you guys aren't going to get this for real? Like, no, seriously? What's wrong with you? So you will have no excuse for ignorance. And sometimes, yes, ignorance is bliss, but also ignorance is pain. Ignorance is misery. And ignorance is loneliness. I mean, the more you know, the better you can raise yourself, elevate yourself also. So there are different things. Also, again, we're establishing precedents.
Mhm.
We have better tools. Um, so what I like to do is this. This is my favorite. This is my favorite thing for the overthinker specifically, because this is what I used on myself. Okay. So if you're an overthinker, you're constantly taking things apart, and your mind constantly, because overthinking is a side effect of like growing up in a stressful environment
Mhm.
most of the time. So my mind is constantly like this, like, where do I go? And it used to always go to solve problems. That's why I got pretty good at psychology, and people come to me to talk to me and stuff, because I can narrow down to the roots like pretty fast. So I started thinking is like, but it goes straight to the negative. When you're an overthinker, it goes straight to problems, straight to danger, right?
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? No, but then where your mind is with the energy that you're emitting. So I was like, no, I don't want to go to danger. I don't want to do that. So then I
Right.
started saying, you know what? I'm going to read. I'm going to study. I'm going to ask myself complex questions, because it's like a carrot on the string. It's like, focus on this. I'm telling you, my overthinking mind, to focus on this carrot, focus on that. And then in the meantime, while you're doing all these other things, right? You're setting all these precedents, you're closing that back door to fear, because doubt is the door to fear. And while you're dangling this carrot in front of you, right, you're closing that door with all the other things that you're doing, right? At the same time, you're learning something better, and knowledge is power. So that is literally hacking your mind, right? Focus on one thing and fix all the things around it, so then when it comes back, you're in control of that overthinking mind.
When going to bed is my
Mhm.
overthinking time, because I'm so busy on a
Mhm.
tight schedule of all the bullshit I have to do all
Mhm.
day. Most of it's great, but some of it's bullshit. And I go to bed and my mind is gone nuts. I'm constantly thinking about everything. So I started turning to watching TV, and then that just
Mhm.
kept me up and
Yeah.
not be able to sleep. So I actually do these. You can find them on YouTube. They're amazing. They are affirmations and manifesting while you sleep.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
as you fall asleep, it's talking to your subconsciousness,
Yes.
and it is the best thing I've ever done for myself.
Ooh,
So
that is
if
awesome.
if someone ever wants
Love
to
it.
do that, just go to Google, not Google, I'm sorry, YouTube, and put in money mantras, positive affirmations for sleeping, and they'll come up, and you can pick out of hundreds of them, and they are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I strongly agree with that too, because what I do before bed, if like I feel my heart rate is elevated, or I have something going on, I sit and meditate, because you're closer to that brainwave pattern when you're closer to sleep, because your
Mhm.
brain waves are in a cycle, right? So as it gets later and later, I used to, this was a while ago, I used to just be on my phone and stuff, but also blue light keeps you up, right?
Yeah.
Because the So it was like I was getting really shitty sleep, and that's when I started to cement and get really disciplined in my process. You trust the process, and it will deliver you. So what I started doing instead is, if I get to that place, I start meditating. So it is that same in that same realm.
It's my
So I start,
meditation.
So then currently what I've been doing for myself is I've been studying a lot of hemisynchronization, right? So it's basically when your left and your right brain are kind of synchronized. And it's also really cool because when you sit and meditate and people cross their legs, so my right is controlled by my left is controlled by my right, but when you cross it, then it's controlled by that side, and this one's controlled by this side. So in the 70s, the CIA did these, they're all declassified documents now. They did these studies of hemisynchronization and meditation, and then they also went to like remote viewing and astral projection and all that stuff, but I won't get into that because that's a completely other thing, but it's super cool if you actually look into it. So there are these tapes on YouTube where you can listen to the actual, it's kind of like a guided meditation while you sleep. And I did that, and holy crap, dude, it took my meditation to like a whole other level, because I had like a crazy experience where like I got into my meditative state, and you don't always get there. Sometimes your mind's just flying around. But I got into this meditative state, and I saw like a line full of my ancestors and like this Chinese dragon coming at me. I was like, what the hell is this? This is dope. But it was really cool. Like, you know, it's a cool little experience, but it helped me sleep, and it helped me calm down, and it helped me get in control of my mind as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do we have any more of the knowledge of self keys, or can we move on to knowledge of just two more? Okay.
Yeah, two more. But you'll see how like this is the majority of it, and then the other stuff kind of is like add-ons, you know?
Okay.
So you have number 4 is art. What is your art? People, whatever your art is, whether that's walking in the woods or artistic or anything like that, we are our truest self when we are engaged in a state of play, because we are completely connected to whatever that source is. And as kids, we're always playing. Puppies, kittens, you know, babies, we're always playing because we're directly connected to whatever that source is. So when you're in a state of play, you're in your art. For me, it's music or I love all kinds of art. And for my kid, I have an 11-year-old, she loves art, and I do everything possible to help her in that place.
Nice.
So being in a state of play is also a very cathartic and a very spiritual thing. So at the same time, it's also in the realm of neuroscience, it's incredible because it reduces stress, it improves focus, it proves cathartic, and it stimulates neuroplasticity. That's why they have art therapy, right? So art encompasses all of these wide range of positive things that you could do for yourself. At the same time, if you're not loving what you do in life, you're not going to love your life, right? So if you're not engaging in your art, whatever it is, you're not living, period. You don't exist to work. You exist so you can do your art, so you can do the things that you love to do, whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into the last thing, and it's your spirituality. And a lot of people have like negative connotations, or they see this like bearded guy in the sky and stuff like that. I don't give a shit what you believe in, whether it's strawberry, vanilla, you know, chocolate, shit flavored. It doesn't matter what you believe in.
Yeah.
So long as you do it. Go outside of yourself. And what I know for a fact in the last 20 years of neuroscience research is that spirituality is essential for a healthy mind and happiness. You have the work of Dr. Lisa Miller, right? That she, in her works, she says that we have, our brain is wired for spirituality. We have neurocorrelates that respond to spirituality. And then there's other studies like how you have this study that had a three test groups, and it had somebody that just these three groups had a high suicide rate. And the first group was they engaged in spiritual practice. The second group, it was a group spiritual practice, and the third group was a control group. Now you have, and it was an empirical study, it had a lot behind it. So the first group, the suicide to completion rate dropped by 66%, which is astronomical, right? And the second group, it went all the way to 86% or 85%, I believe.
Wow.
So, right. So based on those studies in the 90s, a new school of science, of spirit science, spiritual science has emerged. Now you have, the work of, like, for example, Dr. Joe Dispenza and a whole bunch of other people that are talking about these things. You have electromagnetism, which measures like the heart-mind coherence, and it's like a 3-meter wide electromagnetic field. You have precedents of people getting spontaneous healing, and not just in history, but now it's observed and recorded and being studied in the University of Australia, XYZ things. So I don't give a shit what you think you believe and who is this and who is that. Pursue your spiritual journey, because your spiritual journey and your life journey are one and the same. And if you want happiness, if you want prosperity, if you want true, genuine love, if you want authenticity of self, if you want to pursue self-actualization, they all involve these things. That is the real world. Spirituality is the real world. Everything else is synthetic, right? And you're surprised why lies are the currency of a synthetic world. Everything is fake. So that's why we're all sad, So all these things. So you have the journaling, you have taking care of your body, you have feeding your intelligence, you have practicing your art, and you have pursuing your spirituality. So I go in depth with what I'm writing and stuff, but those are the things that when people talk to me is like, what is your plan? What is your process? And ultimately what this process is like a railing in the dark. Like it's not going to cure you, but eventually it will guide you out of the dark into a new person that can sustain and can put up with this life and can change the way that you see this life. So that way you're not just lost in the dark going around in circles. It is a railing, it is a path. And everybody who's actually adopted it, that has talked to me, and I keep in contact with them. There's at least 7 people right now that have really taken it to heart, and they're always texting me. I'm always talking to them. I tell you, I'll give you an hour of my time for free. The price for my time after that is progress. So don't waste my time. I'll give it to somebody else.
I like it.
That is actually good. The price is progress. I freaking love that. So let's get into knowledge of desire. You talk about knowing what you want and what you're looking for. That's we wholeheartedly agree with that. But we want to hear what your idea of knowledge of desire is.
So knowledge of desire is what you want is either a desire of your sex drive, your traumas, peripheral allocations of value, everything that else is outside, or it is actually what you want. The difference between knowing what you want and simply wanting is whether you're just subject to fate or you're a curator of fate. So when you're subject to fate, you're just following your biology, your physiology, your traumas, your psychology, your deficits, your fears. That is going to lead you down the path of least resistance. So knowledge of desire is literally, when you follow a process like this, is you're actively saying, I want this. Why do I want it? Well, because I'm horny. Oh, because I'm lonely. When I ask people and they call me and they tell me, it's like, oh, I'm just lonely, I want a companion. It's like, that's not what you want. That's not what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you really want. So we dig down deep inside all the way to the root. And it comes down to, look, you're just lonely. And that's not how you get somebody, because you're lonely. Because not only are you cheating yourself, but you're cheating them, right?
Correct.
Because you're going to utilize them and put an unfair amount of pressure on them in that relationship, and inevitably it's going to break. So knowledge of desire is the curation of your experience of and self, because you have to elevate yourself to a certain place in order to know exactly what the fuck you want. Otherwise, you think you know what you want, but you don't.
I do 100% agree with that. And when it comes to knowing what you want, and I pair it with, as I always say, manifesting. It's not about saying what you want and then waiting for it to happen. Saying what I want gives me ideas and actions to do that brings it to me.
Yes. See, and I can already tell, like I think you're the exception, because right away last time we spoke too, like you're already in a place of like active self-actualization, because people don't pursue their spirituality in anything less besides that, right? When their physiological desires, their safety needs, and their psychological needs, their need for belongingness and love and all that stuff is already met, then do you ascend to that place. So I mean, this is the process, is the whole point, is if you want to use Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a guide, this is the process that helps you elevate to that place of self-actualization where you can actually decide what it is that you want, because the universe is going to listen to you when you're in that place, because you know exactly what you want in that place. Otherwise, it's going to ignore you. When you're in your development stages and your character development stages, the universe is just going to let you do what you got to do. But it's not until you ascend to that place that's like, okay, I trust you with those decisions. You know exactly what you want, so the universe is going to give it to you.
I love that you said that, because I've talked to people that think they know what they want, but it's more or less a fear of being alone. So they may not really want that person, but they haven't really dug into themselves yet. And they've got that fear of being by themselves, that they'll just
absolutely
do whatever.
Yep.
Absolutely. And they keep making choices in that state of lack, in that state of fear. So you think the universe is going to resonate from the state of fear? No, you have to elevate yourself to be able to speak to God, to the quantum field, to the universe, to whatever your ancestors, whatever it is. You have to elevate your energy, raise your frequency in order to be able to connect with that and for it to actually listen to you.
Like, as an example, I'm going to use money as an example, not a relationship, because actually it is a relationship, because you should have a really strong, healthy, wonderful relationship with money. That's first of all. If you have a fear of money or think money is a bad, evil thing, then you're broke. You're broken, and you're broke. So I want to talk about how what we're talking about in a sense of, say I do my money mantra and I do a money manifestation, which I do every day. And then what that does is, immediately when I'm done with that, I did it today. I had to go pick something up, and I was really tired because I didn't sleep well. So, and I didn't do my manifestation sleep thing. That's my problem. So I wanted to come back home and go to bed. So what I did is, I'm in the car. I did my money mantra. I did my money manifestation. And I immediately went, oh, I got to go to the office of where I office manage, take care of a few things. That's going to pay me XYZ. Then I didn't even think about it. I just went and did it. On the way, I called my production partner and had a production meeting, which then elevated us to a different spot for money for that. When I did that, then I thought, oh, when I go home, when I get back in front of my computer before my podcast, I have to go through these invoices and make sure that they're up to date and that people are paid. Guess what? Now, my money mantra and my money manifestation has caused money to come today.
That's how it works.
See how that works? That is how it fucking works. So yeah. So
I can attest to that, because usually, so I had a shop for a really long time, but I recently relocated to Baldwin Park now, and I just said, whatever, because my kid is here, and even though I would spend 3 days out of the week with her, as soon as I didn't recognize like her personality for a split second, she did something that I've never seen before. I said, no, I need to be here. So I told my business partner, you know what, you can have it. I'm out of here. And because I have that confidence, who does that? Who leaves their business for something new? At the same time, I kind of like made that video on TikTok, and it got all these views, and all these people started reaching out to me. So I started doing something that was for me. I got out of a relationship that wasn't serving me in the best way. She's a great woman and everything, but it just was not serving me in the best way. And I was compromising myself a lot. And as soon as that was over, I just like shot up, in terms of everything, because relationships take energy. And in terms of money, I said, I'm not going to worry about it. The universe has my back so long as I stay true to myself. And people started like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? And I'm making money every day. You know what I mean? And
I love it.
That's just how it is. I'm not worried. You know what I mean? Like, so I can attest to what you're saying.
Set
for
it
sure.
and leave it.
Yep.
So we
Surrender.
have time is freaking flying. We've only got 10 minutes left. So we have two things
Okay.
still to go over: knowledge of others, and then the neuroscience bonus tip.
Okay, cool. So here's the deal with knowledge of others comes with knowledge of self. You can turn everything around in your mind, and a lot of people are constantly looking for behaviors and all that stuff, but knowledge of others comes with knowledge of self. So, but why I like to put this here is because if you know yourself well, you can trust your choices. When you're in this state, for example, choosing a mate, well, what do I look for? What do I look for? Well, I look for what I provide. I look for discipline. I look for intelligence. I look for uh, positive things. What is your art? What is the thing that you learned the last time that you hurt somebody? See, and they have to know how to answer that. So by knowing myself and knowing how hard it was to get to this place, I know other people, and if it just doesn't work, it just doesn't work. So people think like, there's 1 out of 285,000 chance that you'll find the one, and then there's a 60% divorce rate, and there's 75% relationship failure rate, and they get so scared, right? And they're like, no, it's not about that. It's about elevating yourself to that, and then you literally attract the right person to your life. So that is
I agree.
knowledge of others. So I'll briefly go into the last thing because it's kind of cool. So the last thing is how women can connect with men a little bit better, and that is vasopressin bonding, and that is a neurotransmitter. It's kind of like oxytocin. It bonds to the same neuroreceptors as oxytocin, whereas women bond through oxytocin, whether it's through sex or intimacy or flowers and this and that. Women have a different bonding mechanism than men. Men also bond through oxytocin, but you need to understand that men have more receptors for vasopressin, and vasopressin is a neurochemical that is released in times of stress. So I like to make this example. Think about when we were hunter gatherers, right?
Okay.
When we came home with a kill and we were celebrated by the tribe, that made us feel valuable, right? So the way that you can connect with a man is through inducing a stressful behavior and having him win, right? So I like to say, you want a good date idea as a woman for a man, take him to an escape room. So then, but don't get in his way. Don't get in his way. Let him take the lead, and you're the support. And he's going to like, whoa, man, this chick is fucking cool, because that's how we bond. That's how we bond. We have to know that we're valuable to you. We have to know that we can provide something to you, and that you can appreciate what we have to provide, right? So, and the whole idea of escape room is like, even if you're smarter than him, because let's face it, sometimes girls are smarter than us, right? Yeah, vasopressin, AVP. So you can help him, give him clues and stuff, and then just like, oh, dude, you did that. Hell yeah, high five. Because that's what men do in a hunt. It's like, we did it. Fuck yeah, high five. So if you do that, it'll be easier for you to bond with a man. Like, I got flowers this week, which is the first time in my life I've gotten flowers, which is really cool. But it doesn't speak to me the same way that it speaks to a woman getting flowers. But I think it's still kind of cool. So
it is cool, but I agree.
So the last thing here before we stop. So the last thing with vasopressin is that studies have shown that it increases the favorability for a man towards a woman behavior in a social setting. So it's more like territorial. So that's what vasopressin does, and some women bond through that as well. So that's it.
I along that route, I've heard from other men who teach women how to, connect to men and on the man's level, not what the woman wants. We know what we want. We have to pick the right person, and then we have to supply what they need to get there. And one of those things was saying things like, "Oh, I love being around you. You make me feel so safe." Making him feel like he's protect. Yeah, absolutely. I have to be
Yeah.
careful who I say that to.
Yeah, be careful with that one. That's a WMD right there for a male
I
bonding.
know, right? It is. Well,
Yeah.
I was wrong when I said 10 minutes. It was actually 5. I fucked that up. But thank you, Bryan, for going quickly. Because I really wanted to get that in.
This was really good. Thank you, Bryan.
It was a
Yeah,
beautiful
thank you for
day.
having me.
I saw how great today could be. So thank you.
There you go.
So I'm going to wrap this up. I hate to see you go, but I definitely want to have you back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean it when I say it. So you will be back. Jada, thanks for being here with me today.
Of course.
All the listeners, we really appreciate when you come and listen to us. And until same time, same place next week, let's keep it real.
Bye.
See you guys.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.